Hey guys, Sebastian here from greenmusicproductions.com. Today I want to talk about Cubase 8.5. So it came out yesterday. I wanted to make this video yesterday, but I had a problem with my computer, so I'm doing it today instead. So I want to talk about the features I like, the features I don't like. It's kind of like a quick review, and I want to give you a couple of tips and tricks for what Cubase 8.5 has to offer. The first thing I want to talk about is how to import your preferences from your older version of Cubase. If you're upgrading from 8 or 7, 7.5 or an older version, you might want to import your preferences and your presets. Cubase is supposed to do that automatically, but in my case it didn't. So I'm going to show you how to do it. First, you need to make sure you have the visibility in your folder options. You need to have the show hidden folders because we're going to go into app data here and it's a hidden folder. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm in Windows 7, so it might be different. This right here, if it doesn't look like that, you can always click on the view and change it to a large icon. You need to go under folder options, under view, and you have hidden files and folders here, and you have to tick the show hidden files, folders, and drives, and then you click apply, okay. And now if you go into your user folder, if you don't have it on your desktop, you might go under computer, see users. Mine is Rob. Yours will be the name of the computer, the name you put when you install Windows. So after that, you need to go into app data, roaming, Steinberg. And now, depending on if you have 64-bit Cubase or 32 bits, I installed both, but I'm using the 64 bits version of Cubase. So as you can see, the folder is here, but first I need to copy the presets from Cubase 8. So Cubase 8 64 if you're on 64 bits. And now you just, I do Control A or Command A if you're on a Mac to select everything. Well, on a Mac, it's not going to be the same folder, so never mind. And then you can do a Control C to copy everything, or just right click and do copy. And then you go into your Cubase 8.5 folder, make sure it's the right one, 64 or 32 bits. And then you just paste it here. If you want to start to make sure there's no residue or anything that was already there since you opened 8.5, you can always delete everything that's in there and then paste the files, but you don't need to. It will merge and it will ask you if you want to overwrite the files and everything. You can just overwrite everything. It will be fine. So once you did this, it will import all your preferences and presets. So that's really cool. Another thing I want to show you is, for some reason, I didn't have Groove Agent 1 installed with 8.5. I don't know why. So you can go under Computer, see if you're upgrading from an older version of Cubase, obviously. And then if you're running Cubase 64, it's going to be in Program File. If it's 32, it's in Program Files x86. And then you go under Steinberg. And now, as you can see, I have my folders. I go into Cubase 8 folder, VST3, and now you can see I have Groove Agent 1, VST, and bin. You can just copy those files and paste them. You go back, paste them into the Cubase 8.5 VST3 folder. Already done that, so that's why they're there. But after that, you'll be able to use Groove Agent 1 in Cubase if it wasn't there when you installed it. Okay, so let's dive right in. That was just some quick tips to get you started if you're upgrading and you're having issues with those things. So the first thing I want to talk about is the ruler zoom. Most of the issues I had in 8 are still in 8.5. Now, some people told me that was not an issue, but who are you kidding? I mean, there's nothing good about this. The ruler zoom is the ruler is not synced with the cursor. As you can see here, I'm moving my cursor and the ruler is far on the left. So usually when you drag in the ruler, you drag down to zoom in, the cursor and the ruler would be synced together. They would be locked together. But now, as you can see, they move apart, and it's annoying because sometimes you want to go on the right, on the left, and it's not synced, and it's annoying. It's just an annoying bug, an annoying bug. So now I'm only using the control scroll wheel to zoom in and out. So that's still there, but I just wanted to get the bad stuff out of the way. Now we can focus on the cool things that are new to Cubase 8.5. So to begin, we'll look at the transport. As you can see, the buttons are different. There's no real new features on the transport, except maybe that now, even if the tempo track is enabled, you can put a fixed tempo and it will take it. So that's a cool addition. That was an annoying thing. Not so much, because you can always switch to fixed tempo, but now if you put it to a track, you can change tempo and everything will move accordingly. So that's cool. They also added, if you enable the punch in, punch out, as you can see, some red locators appeared under the regular locators. So these are the punch in and out locators, and that's a really cool addition because they can be separated now. Usually you would have to set your locators, and they would also be your punch in and out locators. But if you're doing loop recording, this is really nice, because sometimes when you're looping and you're recording, you want to hear a little bit before your take. So now, for example, I can set it like this. And if I enable the loop recording, that's another new feature in Cubase 8.5. If you go on the upper part of the ruler, you can just click and that will enable the loop. So that's really cool. So now if I press play here, I'll enable the record on the bass track just to show you. So it started recording, and I should have set it so it's shorter, but just to show you. So the recording stopped here, and it will move back to start and start recording there again. So that's really useful to listen to what's before and after before you do your take over and over. So that's always a nice addition. Now they also made the transport tab here a lot more straightforward. Everything is in subdivisions. Everything is easier to understand. So that's always good. And beside that, everything is pretty much the same. Beside a couple of little layout change. Now they have X buttons on both sides. That's okay. The other thing I want to talk about here is the media bay. They changed a couple of little things with the media bay. As you can see now, when I open the media bay, I have, usually you would have something like this, where you see all of your files in the folder you are at the moment. But they categorized everything that comes with Cubase in separate graphical folders. So if I want to put a new instrument in my session, I click on instrument and I can see the instruments. So that's always nice. So I can just grab, I can click on, Groove Agent SE if I want a factory preset, and now I only see the factory preset. So that's pretty cool. If you want to see everything as it used to be, just click on Show All. That's nice. Another cool thing, if I grab an audio from the media bay and I want to drag it, sorry for that. I'll drag a smaller one. Okay, that's good. So usually if you want to put that on a new track, you would have to go down until you have no existing tracks and drop it there. It would create a track. But if you're working on a big sessions with a lot of tracks, that's really annoying. Now I can just drop it on the left side here, and as you can see, there's a green line that appears. It will create a new track where I drop it, and sample will go where my ruler is. So that is really cool. I really like that. They fixed a lot of little annoying things like that, so that's really cool. Now it was possible to do that in older version of Cubase, but now they added a dot in the middle at the end of an event. So if you click and drag on that dot, it will just duplicate this event. So that's really nice. Usually you would have to go under the draw tool and go on the dot at the bottom and do the same thing. So that feature is now replaced by just a dot in the middle, and it works for MIDI, audio, any tracks with data. So it's cool. Yeah, they also upgraded the Elastic Pro algorithm. So now it's not different here, but they improved it a lot. So I'll just grab, let's say, this track here. What is it? Yeah, that's cool. So I set it to Elastic Pro time, and I'll use the time stretch tool. So we'll just listen to it before I stretch it. So that's pretty straightforward. And if we stretch it, let's do like 3 times the original length and listen to it. So that's pretty good for a crazy stretch like that. Let's do a little less, something like this. So that sounds really good. I really hear the improvement on the Elastic algorithm. So that's always welcome. Thank you, Steinberg, for this. Another feature that they added for workflow, a lot of people don't like that, but now you can have different options show when you put your mouse on the edge of any side of the window, of the project window, of the mixer window. So as you can see, I can click on rack. That's not useful for me because I already have a keyboard shortcut to make the rack appear. If you go on the left side, you can enable the inspector. The bottom one is kind of cool, even though I don't use it that much, but it's to enable the chord pads. So that's cool. The same thing is in the mixer. So you can see pretty much everything that's in this menu right here, but you don't have to go on the left side to make it show. Channel selector, you can show it. This studio, this whole part here. And at the bottom, sorry for that. It's kind of hard to make it show sometimes. So I don't even know if there's something at the bottom of the mixer, but it doesn't seem like there's something there. So it's only top, left side, and right side. But still, it's a fun new addition. I won't use it that much since I'm a big keyboard shortcut user. But still, it's nice. Now, they also improved the MIDI and drum editor. So let's just create a MIDI empty event here, and I'll double click on it so we can look at what they added here. So you can now create a MIDI note by double clicking. So usually you have to hold the Alt and click, but if you double click and you hold, you can adjust the size, the velocity, and if you're still holding and you hold the Alt button, you can now move it up or down. If you're holding the Shift, it will do as if there was no snap enable. So you can resize it freely. And if you hold the Shift, you can move it left and right. So just by double clicking, you can do a lot of stuff. So that's a good addition. I like that. So the other thing I want to talk about is the new drum editor. So the same kind of thing applies to the drum editor. You can double click to create a note. If you double click and you go up and down, you can adjust the velocity. If you go right, as you can see, it's going to just create new notes there according to the snap grid value that you have. So that's really cool. Another thing you can do, you can now see the length by clicking on this little button here, show note length, because usually you only see diamonds because they're drum hits. But sometimes, you know, if you want to see the length, tweak it, you can click on that button and adjust it. And then you can go back and you'll see the diamond. So that's also pretty cool. So you can also change what you see. If you go under the little house button here, it's called Visibility Agent. So now you can hide everything that I'm not using right now on my drum editor. So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff here that I'm not using. So I'm just gonna hide it. So now I can focus on only those 3 things. So it's a lot easier for me to write beats and stuff. So that's always fun. That's always cool. I really like that. Next, I'm going to show you the import track from sessions. That's a really cool feature because I've been asking on the Cubase forums for a while. I've been asking for import session data. You probably know that feature from Pro Tools. And I think this is the first step to get a proper import session data option. So hopefully they will do it. But for now, if you go under File, Import, Track from Project, you can select another project and see all the tracks, as you can see, at MIDI, audio, and you can select the one that you want and say if you want them to be on a new track or put them on an existing track. So that's a really cool feature. I really like that. It's not as powerful as Pro Tools import session data, since you can choose almost any properties or anything that you want to import. You have so much more control in Pro Tools, but that's the first step, and I really enjoy that. So thank you, Steinberg, for this, and hopefully in Cubase 9 you'll add more features to this wonderful tool. The new profile manager is also a really nice addition. So now if you go in File, you have an option called Profile Manager. So if you're many people working on the same computer, same Cubase, you can save your preset and change the name to, let's say, I call this Seb. So let's say my wife is using it to make some music or stuff like that. She can create her own with her own settings and load it really easily from here. So that is really cool, just by clicking the Activate Profile. Really nice feature. Now you can also, this was a little rushed in my opinion, but I've been requesting this feature. Sometimes when I'm in a project, I want all of my tracks to be in linear mode instead of musical mode. But by default, it's set to musical mode, which I like, but sometimes, you know, you want to switch to a linear mode. And right now we had to do it one track at a time. There was no keyboard shortcut to do multiple tracks at once. So now Cubase added some features in the Project Logical Editor. But when I installed Cubase, the preset wasn't there. I asked on the Steinberg forum, and a guy created them from scratch and sent them to me. It's not that hard to create them. I was just wondering why they're not there, since they're in all the videos. So now I can switch toggle time base selected track. So right now they're in musical mode. If I click this and click apply, I just switch those 3 tracks into linear instead. So that's really cool. It's not that straightforward. I'm sure they will make this feature a little more user friendly, and but still better than nothing. I'll bring them back to musical mode. Beside that, yeah, I really like Retrologue, and they updated Retrologue to Retrologue 2, so that's really cool. I'll just open it. So for those who are wondering, Retrologue 2 is compatible with the old Retrologue 1. So don't worry if you have Retrologue 1 stuff in your sessions, they will still work. So the new stuff, you now have a 3rd oscillator. That's really nice. You have a proper arpeggiator. That's also really cool. And as you can see here, you have effects. And you have a resonator, which is kind of a crazy filter, an EQ, phaser, modulation. So that's like chorus and stuff like that, delay and reverb, and it sounds really good. They also added so many presets, so you can now dive in the presets a little more. I like to start from scratch while using this amazing synth, because it looks and it sounds like a vintage synth, and I usually like to start my patch from scratch, but sometimes, you know, you can check out the presets and start from there. So that's really cool. The plugin view, I've been requesting something like this, but not exactly that for a while. What I wanted is that when a plugin is up front, you can see that it's up front. And now, as you can see, the plugin box, when you instead of having a kind of power button here and the little down arrow appearing here, it's a little more straightforward, more clean, but it's not really different. You can change the look of it by right-clicking and going under the Show Insert As, Plugin Names and Insert Control. It will make them bigger, but now you will always see the name and if they're up front or not. This one appeared on my second monitor, but you can see the little E is highlighted when it's up front, so that's always nice, so you know what plugin you're editing. If you have multiple copies of the same plugin on different tracks, sometimes you tweak the wrong one. So that's always nice, but it's still a little bit slow to show. It takes a second to appear. In the older Cubase version before the new mixer, it was really fast, but if you hold the Control key and click on it, it will be like it used to be. These seem to have a little protection, a little delay, because now you can just grab them and move them around, so it's waiting to see if you're just grabbing it or if you want it to show. So as you can see, the difference is it's not that bad, but this is the old way. That's really fast when you're holding the control button. So I wanted them to fix that, but they didn't still. It's a good addition to have that visibility on plugins. Okay, the last thing I'm going to touch on, I'm not going to talk about the VST Transit because for some reason it's not working for me. I can't log in even if I have the right password and I activated all my stuff, so I don't know why. I might make a video about it later. But the last thing I'm going to talk about is creating new tracks. So let's say I create an audio track. Now there's a new field here where I can pick what output I want to route it to. So that's really nice. If I already have a group created and I want to add it to that group, I can just select it while creating it and create multiple tracks on that group. So that's really cool. And same thing applies to if you create an effects or a MIDI or group track. Let's create a group channel just to show you. You now have the option to not only select the output, but you can create it where your track is highlighted. So usually it would go automatically in a folder at the bottom of the session. But if you click on create outside of folder, it's just going to go underneath here. So it's cleaner, and I like that a lot. So as you can see, a couple of little things that just make your workflow better and faster and less annoying. So I really like that. It's not a free upgrade, it's a $50 upgrade, but as usual, if you upgrade to Cubase 9 afterwards, you will have a reduction of the amount you paid for the 8.5 update. So yeah, so it's really cool. Thank you for watching. I might make a video later on the VST Transit once I get it working. Feel free to ask if you have questions in the comment section. As always, like this video and subscribe if you like the video, and you can check out my other videos and my website in the description. Thank you guys, and have a good day.